Welcome everyone to another Industry and Transition Zoom call. I'm very pleased to have Jeff Crosby with us. You have a unique perspective on things, and I just want to be clear with everyone who's listening that when you're an advisor, and we have many of them on AdvisorHub who request from us, help with finding a new firm, Jeff is the guy we send you to. So Jeff works with us, exclusively, and there's a reason he does, because Jeff is also, he's embarrassed to say this, he's a triathlete, he's a $5 million producer in his own right. And I think that gives you not only a lot of credibility, Jeff, but I think, puts you in a unique position to help people and to talk about, what's going on in this industry. So that's your commercial. After this, I want to talk about sort of your point of view on where we are, kind of, and where we're going. And people are really interested. When this year started, and I was talking about this just the other day with the folks at Cetera, I didn't think that we were going to have a great recruiting year. I thought things were going to be rough, and I didn't know that this Zoom thing was actually going to maybe be able to sort of create these virtual home office visits, and that they were going to end up being successful. But we ended up having a pretty good year. What was your opinion of how 2020 went, given the pandemic and all the tough things we had to go through?
I'm on many calls as a wealth advisor in the first quarter, just listening to the experts, and this thing's a 2-year recovery, 3-year recovery. There's no way this thing's going to be a V-shaped recovery. So we all have to be careful what we think to be true in the future, and it just changed the way people are doing business. Broker dealers found an effective way to have VIP, services over Zoom and Teams call. Advisors got more comfortable with it. Clients got more comfortable with it. And frankly, too, part of it is that, the advisor might be more present, that they're not working off their phone as much. Maybe they're in front of their computer. So it just, in some ways, there was less distractions, and someone was able to be able to focus more on their maybe their own financial plan, where they want to go. And it just opened up a lot of questions, and it made them more present to probably be able to take calls from other transition consultants out there. So it just. Yeah,
I think what I'm getting out of that is something that I sort of agree with, which is this sort of, it bled inwards from the client to the advisor. I mean, the clients needed to talk to them, and the clients sort of put advisors at ease that this Zoom stuff was okay. So that's kind of my mind where the acceptance came from that. 80-year-old client who wants to see their grandkids. They're using Zoom. They're seeing their doctor on Zoom, for God's sake. They're talking to their lawyer on Zoom, so they're talking to us. And that really bled into recruiting. I mean, so the fact is that it was a banner year for recruiting last year, all through this pandemic. And some of it maybe had to do with what you were saying. Guys are at home in front of their computers, maybe a little time to think about what the future might be.
And frankly, probably it's a little safer too.
Yeah.
You can hide behind the computer. You don't have to go make a special trip. You don't have to go meet a consultant for lunch. It doesn't expose you. So someone, the advisors, the practices probably felt a bit more safe, where they may have controlled more of the, of the conversation, the pace of things, than actually the broker. So they were able to pump brakes at appropriate times and dissect things. I mean, we had a big win in, we moved a $3.5 million practice during the heat of the pandemic. They had the PPP loan they had to deal with. They had a big team, but, we were advising them along the way, and, we had earned their trust and confidence, and it was hands-on. And frankly, to this day, I still have never met the person in person. It's all been, over Teams. So we dug in, and we did great work. They trusted us, and the firm they went to did great work. And, it was obviously very effective. And
that's crazy, because I know that you're a hands-on guy. You'd love to get out there and shake hands and see people and get in front of them. So that's got to be, that had to have been hard at first. Let's put it that. It must have been difficult.
You know what? I'm going to say this to the advisors out there. I was on this whole Zoom thing, WebEx thing, Skype thing before the pandemic ever hit. In a wealth management practice, I mean, I meet with clients on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm going to run a very efficient practice. So I'm in front. We've been doing WebEx meetings for a long time, for our clients, because it's a really effective way to run your wealth management business. I'll show you your financial plan on the screen. So, I'm not trying to say we're better than anyone else.
No, but that's important, because I think that this, I think that what's gone on in 2020 is going to separate out the herd a little bit. The advisors who embrace technology, you got a thriving $5 million practice, right? So you must be doing something right.
I just got
all
lucky.
appearances
Tony,
to the contrary.
I got lucky. That's it.
All right. So you must be doing something right. And I would have to say that the technology piece has got to be one of the critical, tenets of that, because the folks who don't embrace technology, there is a little bit of a have and have not in our business now. There are some folks who are, believe it or not, are still struggling, smaller practices, just sort of using this as a crutch, but integrated in your business practice going forward. You did it before, you're going to keep using technology going forward.
Oh yeah. I mean, of course, it's the way that it has been, but it's taken a big leap forward, through the pandemic, and just referral marketing. I mean, how using technologies for advisors. I mean, this isn't about how an advisor moves from one broker dealer to another, but on the wealth management side, where we're able to advise the advisor if they want to move or not. It's like, is part of your goal to grow your practice? Is that what you want to do? Well, if you want to grow your practice, is your existing broker dealer the best to do it with, or RIA, or someone else? Well, but within that, if you want to grow, how are you going to grow? How are you going to get more wealthy clients like a Tony Sirianni? How are you going to get a Tony Sirianni to refer your services? How are you going to use technology? How are you going to use Zoom to be able to grow your client base through referrals? And, and you can either resist it, or you can accept it and adapt to it and figure out ways. And so that's what, the successful advisors are doing. And if their firm doesn't allow them technology-wise to do it as well, then yeah, that's a reason to move to a new firm. If the BD that they're with has tight compliance reins on them that doesn't allow them to be as flexible, that's a reason to move. So
yeah, so when you move, there are push and pull factors, right? So clearly, when trying to figure out with advisors where they want to go next, come 2021. You've got to keep this technology sort of dead center of your vision of where you want to be.
It's like Lee Iacocca when he retired from Chrysler. I remember reading an article in 1995 in Fortune magazine. He said how I flunked retirement, and he said because he never retired to something, he retired from something. So I think for an advisor to move, what are you moving to? You want to move to something rather than from something. So what opportunity fits for you in your lifestyle, your culture, how you want to grow. And I think that's key. So an advisor, sometimes, I don't mean to beat my colleagues up, but sometimes we don't do the best financial planning for our own self, asking ourselves, where do we want to be in 3 years? And
right.
What's the best roadmap to get there? Because that's what we're trying to advise our clients on. What's the best roadmap to get to where they want to be in 3 years? And so we need to do, as an advisor, self-reflection ourselves. And that's at 3xEquity, where we feel like, because I'm one of them, I can help them, I can glean those things from them and help them to decide and figure out opportunities, what might be the best fit going forward from different opportunities they have out there. And Tony, I will say this too, sorry, we do get paid moving advisors from one broker dealer to another, but sometimes it makes sense not to move. Sometimes it's better right where you are, and you want someone to be able to tell you that as well. It's not always greener on the other side. So we dig into that. We, as an expert in the industry, we try to understand that it's not always greener on the other side. And let me just kind of share this with, my philosophy and how I go about it. I mean, by no means am I a Michael Jordan or Tiger Woods, but LeBron James, but I know you're not a big sports guy, but those guys try to get better in the off season. They're your $10 million producer. They're the guys that are first in your office at 7 a.m. And in professional sports, that's what they are. I'm 57 years old. I'm doing my 25th Ironman. I'm getting faster and more fit than I ever have, but I'm changing things and how I do things and whatnot. And in one's practice, again, not to spiritualize things too much, but there's a parable in the Bible that talks about, more logs together create more energy. And so if someone wants to grow, you want to be able to create that more energy. And how do you create more energy? You could hire Tony Sirianni, because he's going to give you energy. You could be in a system where there's a branch manager. You can go out and hire a coach. But if you want to grow as good as you are, you want to bring in coaching around you to help you elevate it and, break through the ceiling of complexity, as Dan Sullivan calls it. So, and that's where I feel. Go ahead.
But I'm just thinking that's that's how you got to sift through these guys, and then sift through the companies you would recommend, or the firms you'd recommend to them, by saying, which guy fits where. This guy needs this kind of coaching, this guy needs this kind of structure, and either way, you're trying to set them up for growth, because that's the easiest guy to place, I would think.
You would think so, but it's important, Tony, just really find out why does someone want to move from one broker dealer to another? Is it the big fat check? Is it the other reasons? Are there other reasons? Do they want to create a succession plan? Do they want to train a junior guy? Do they want to, monetize their business? Do they want to grow? Do they want to change their business to more, fee based? What is their goals? And I think for someone that just goes for the check, that's probably a lost leader. You want to grow, you want to go into the right culture. And that's for us, Tony, that's where we want to be able to learn, is from, as many of the broker dealers that we can out there, their value proposition, and you've got a great partnership with so many of them out there, which we appreciate, the introduction you've given to us, to them, so that we can learn their value proposition and, really be able to help find that right fit. But it goes back to everything. What are your goals? Where do you want to go? And I think that's kind of the unique aspect that we do. And we don't have to move these guys. We're not like this blood cutting recruiter that we got to move it. We really try to listen to that candidate's needs and make the right fit.
I guess the final stuff that I'm thinking about here, we talked about sort of what accelerated and what decelerated. Give me your general opinion. We're still at the first quarter of 21. There are some things, looming. People are saying, there's, this market's going to have a correction at some point. There's the pandemic is not quite beaten yet. There's taxes coming up that could be a potential issue for, our industry. Are you seeing any of that affecting recruiting? I mean, we recruited through a real big dip, still. What do you see for 21 in terms of where we're going to be?
Maybe I'm naive. I don't know. But, in one of my early morning workouts by myself in the garage, I listened to different podcasts and different articles in the Wall Street Journal and whatnot. And it was a fascinating podcast I listened to here recently, that this guy, the journalist of the Wall Street Journal, did this study, and 31 businesses went out of business and were boarded up on Fifth Avenue in New York. And he's trying to, understand, well, what's happening, what's going to happen. But his fascinating study is that 42 new businesses were open. So that was like a net 11. Hey, we're going to figure this thing out. The market's going to go on to set record highs. We're going to have dips. We're going to have volatility. There's going to be problems in the industry. But to me, advisors are on the move. Broker dealers are going to keep breaking things to make it better. The good advisors are going to keep remaking themselves. This whole contraction, we've been hearing in our industry, Tony, we've been hearing it for 5 years. How we pay for the debt in 20 years from now, that's a different issue. But there's a bunch of tailwind behind us. There's many opportunities. And, I just think for those candidates or broker dealers that, on the move, if you want to grow, you want to get better, there's a lot of great opportunities out there. And I'd encourage, those to take a call. And if you're feeling a little down, there's going to be opportunities. And if we can help you at 3xEquity anonymously consider your opportunities, we would be thrilled to do that. So I don't know, maybe I'm naive, but the market has always set record highs. No one thought the market was going up on January 6th, the Capitol got invaded. So good stuff will happen in 2021 and 2022 and 2023. But yet there's going to be setbacks, and we work on our feet and we break things to make them better.
Right. Well, look, I'm going to leave it at that, because that's a high note. I like that. So thanks, Jeff, for being here. We'll do this again at some point. And thanks for helping us at AdvisorHub with our advisors.
One commercial for AdvisorHub. Tony, you've done a great job in how you've remade it and what you provide to the industry and the professionalism and the content. So I know you and Patrick and your team have worked hard. So in the industry, we appreciate it. And you've taken a small business and made it into a much bigger business. So kudos to you and your team for doing that. So congratulations.
Appreciate it. And as a matter of fact, a lot of people would sort of shy away from that kind of flattery, but I think it actually earns you another spot on the Zoom call. So that's all good. All right, brother.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Bye-bye.